Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I wanted to just continue the conversation around coffee enemas. It's been a hot topic on the forum and just around lately with other people I'm working with, and just in general, topic seems to be coming up. So I wanted to talk a little bit about a question on the forum about the kind of beans to use when you're doing your coffee enema. Now, I know that a lot of people out there recommend green coffee beans for your coffee enemas. And I don't recommend green coffee beans, and there are a few reasons for this, and I'll share some of those with you. One of which is that they tend to be less fermented and more in the raw state than the black coffee beans. Now, coffee is supposed to be a naturally fermented food, meaning that in order to eat it, in order to consume it, it needs to be fermented first. And this is because coffee contains very, very high levels of phytic acid, and phytic acid blocks nutrient and mineral absorption in the intestines, especially the small intestine. And so things like magnesium, iron, calcium, these sort of things are not going to be absorbed properly in your intestines if you're eating foods that contain phytic acid. And so that's things like the green coffee beans, but also you have like raw nuts, raw chocolate, raw cacao. All of these things have really high levels of anti-nutrients in there that block mineral absorption in the gut. So that is probably the most prominent reason why I don't suggest green coffee beans when it comes to the coffee enemas. So I like to go for the black coffee beans, and coffee, it can be the way it's stored, and sometimes the way it's produced, it can build up mold. And there are several coffee producers out there now who actually test for mold levels. So that's something you want to pay attention to when you're getting your coffee, whether it's for your enema or whether it's for just drinking purposes. You really want to make sure that the product has been tested for mold. So the product that I list on the forum there, by Grounds of Change, is a really great coffee bean that I like to use and recommend for the coffee enemas. Now, it comes in whole bean form, and so you're going to want to grind that. You always want to use ground coffee beans for your enema. And this is because when you grind your coffee beans, something called palmitic acid is released. And this is really what makes the coffee enema so potent and so detoxifying and so supportive to the liver, because palmitic acid contains very high levels of glutathione. And glutathione is the mother of all antioxidants. And many people today, not just people with chronic diseases, but most people today have very low levels of glutathione due to poor diet, due to exposure to toxins and poisons and heavy metals. And all of these things shut down the liver's ability to detox, and this is because that glutathione is not working properly when it gets this buildup of toxins and when they just build up over time. So the coffee enemas can be super helpful for this reason, because that palmitic acid contains very high levels of glutathione. So that's something to keep in mind when you're doing your coffee enemas, because glutathione, if you don't have that, then your liver can't really detox properly. And anyone out there with the MTHFR gene or other detoxification genes that may not be working adequately, you really want to find ways to improve your glutathione levels so your liver and your body can detox. And one of the best ways is through the coffee enemas, because of this availability of glutathione and that palmitic acid that gets stimulated when the coffee is ground and when you do the coffee enemas. So that's something to keep in mind. And also, when you do this, if you're just starting off with your coffee enemas, Because of this release of because the glutathione levels are going to be so high when you're doing your coffee enemas, through that in that coffee bean, and it goes up, the palmitic acid goes up the veins and into the liver, and it stimulates the liver and it stimulates the gallbladder, and so those toxins are going to be released due to that presence of glutathione. So it's really important to not just do your coffee enemas, but it's really important before you do your coffee enema and after you do your coffee enema and for days and even weeks after, to have those detox supplements that I recommend. And if you're working with me, you have a whole list of those and how to use those. It's really important to incorporate those in before, sometimes even during and after you're doing your coffee enema, because if you're someone who hasn't really detoxed a lot in your life, or if you're someone who has a chronic disorder or condition, then there's going to be a large amount of toxins that have built up, and if you stimulate the liver to release toxins and you don't have anything there to help sweep up and grab the toxins, then you may feel some detox reactions. A lot of people think this is from the caffeine, that the caffeine in the coffee stimulates detox reactions or stimulates these feelings of jitteriness. And often that's a side effect of actual toxins that have been stirred up and are floating around, and they need to have something to come in and grab them to help them leave. When you're doing a coffee enema, very, very little caffeine actually makes its way into the bloodstream. So often if you're feeling a jittery or uneasy side effect after you do your coffee enema, it's a sign that you've stimulated some toxins and you need more of those detox supplements and herbal tinctures that I recommend in your, just take those. You need more of those. You need to increase the amount you're taking to help grab those toxins and help them escort and leave your body. So I hope that's helpful when it comes to the coffee bean. I guess one other thing that I want to mention about the coffee bean is the reason I suggest that coffee from the grounds of change is because it's from South America, and it's from pretty high up in the mountains, so it's got a pretty high altitude, and coffee beans that are grown at higher altitudes tend to have different properties. They have much more sun exposure, and that's a very good thing for the potency, the nutritional value, the energetics of the coffee bean. And also, the higher up you get, there tends to be less mold or propensity for mold that can occur. So those are some other reasons why I like it. And it's also single origin, so it's coming from one place. It's just coming from one location. Some coffees out there, they come from all these different places. You don't know how they're produced. You don't know which ones have mold or which ones were produced in certain ways or that sort of thing. So that's another reason why I like the coffee that I suggest and posted there on the forum. So if you have any questions, feel free to post. If you're not yet working with me and want to get started with your coffee enemas and some detox supplements and other dietary protocols to help you with your detoxing, reach out to me and I'd be happy to give you a hand with that. So feel free to post your questions below. I hope this was helpful, and I'm actually going to do another video on coffee enemas coming up really soon to help give some assistance with just the foundational, physical, step-by-step ways of going about your enema to make it as easeful as you can, and to just help give you a layout of what it looks like, what it feels like, what to expect, and that sort of thing if you decide to do a coffee enema. All right, see you next time.